Yo, what is up, guys? It's me, Eve, again here playing Bleach Soul Resonance. In today's video, we're going to talk about who you should be picking in the standard characters, all of the better options, all of the worst options in terms of all of the characters. Again, there's going to be very specific to your account, basically for your pulls, how lucky you are on the pulling side of the characters. Again, do you always hit a pity like me, or are you much luckier, more luckier, and like once in a while you just hit random, like on first two multis or something like that before the pity, obviously on the standard pattern as well. You hit like characters, you have all of them. So we're going to talk about all of that in today's video. So first of all, there's all of the standard characters are in there. I do recommend trying to go for the DPSs. If you don't have one of the DPSs in there, do go for the DPS first. This is most important. Do go for the DPSs. So for example, if you don't have a strike DPS and you have the rest, go for the Yoriichi. If you don't have the DPS for the thrust, go for the thrust DPS. So these two are going to be the most important, because again, with them you can clear all of the content that requires you to have their own like either strike or a thrust here. Again, other than them, we don't have any other DPS in here. We have a support, like I said, for Kawamura, for example. He's basically a sub DPS for Yoriichi. He's a battlefield skill character. Urahara is the support, and Tosen is the battlefield character for the thrust team, and the Byakuya is the battlefield for the slash team. So depending on you, most people have the Ichigo plus Byakuya plus obviously the Urahara, and in that sense I would recommend you to go for the thrust team, because thrust team is going to be very useful, as well as a lot of people do, like for example, if you haven't used your selector before getting the full slash team, they pick a thrust team from there. So for example, if you pick the Yukaku, then the Tosen would be a good pick for here as well. So in terms of the overall stuff, you need a lot, all of the teams build, and as well as I do recommend going for the thrust if you don't have them from the bonuses, because again, Gin is also going to be a very skippable character. I don't really recommend summoning for him unless you're like really want to, because he's again, you have a full thrust team and they're actually very good, because the Boldy here on the Ikaku as well as the Tosen, both of them are very strong characters. Again, they're not maybe as strong as the slash team or the spirit team currently, but again, they're probably like top 3 team for sure after them. Again, and he is also like a maybe top 3 damage dealer in the game as well, right after again the main limited character DPS is right there, as well as like Yoriichi is also close to him as well. They're both close on damage side, and that's why I would recommend the Yukaku in here. So in terms of if you have the thrust already, then Yoriichi plus the Kawamura are going to be your best picks. So Yoriichi is going to be the strike DPS, and Kawamura, if you already have Yoriichi, then Kawamura is going to be your second pick. In terms of if you have everything already, like so all of these characters have at least one copy, then this is where it gets a little bit tricky, but I still do give you the most like give your attention to these two characters. Again, you need to go for the DPSs because they're your main income source of damage basically. So because of that, thrust, Ikaku or Yoriichi. If you have like a few dupes on one of the characters, so if you go to the dupes of the characters, for example, Yoriichi has a decent one dupe, she has a decent second dupe, so all of her first dupes are very nice. In terms of the Ukakus, I unfortunately can't really see it in here because I don't have him, but he's also pretty nice on the first, basically on his first dupes, as you can see in here. So charge rate by 100%, that's a very huge one. All damage dealt by Okaku by 12%, this increased by 24% as well, is very nice. So those few first dupes are going to be very important. So in terms of like, if depending on your dupes as well, so for example, if you have already first 2 dupes on one of the characters and you don't have the next one, on third one is not that like impactful, because this is like just the quality of life basically, the third one in here, because it buffs the level. So because of that, I would recommend going for the other character. For example, if you have Unokaku, you have 2 dupes on him. Go for the Yoriichi first dupe, because that's going to be also very impactful. Again, gaining 20 spiritual pressure whenever she dodges an attack is very, very nice. Maybe it's not her like best, but still a pretty decent one that will give you a lot of important buffs in there. So that's how you want to go for it. For those who are like a low spenders, pay to wins, you have a lot of dupes on the DPS characters per se, right? Then your next pick is gonna be either the slash team, thrust, or the strike, the one that you're missing the most. Honestly, for slash, if you already have like on 0 like dupes, this is like just enough. Byakuya is gonna be just enough for you to have on 0 dupes. You don't really need more than that. So you might just put a little bit more into the thrust or the strike team, because again, in the slash team, you're gonna get carried by the Ichigo a lot, and because of that, you don't really need any extra help in there compared to thrust and strike, because they don't have the limited characters yet, as well as we're not gonna see any limited characters for them for a while until we finish with the Aizen banner. Because again, we have Toshiro here currently, then we have Gin, then we have Aizen, and then we don't know who is gonna be yet officially. There's like speculation it could be either Soifon or it could be Kenpachi. One of them is basically coming after that. So we'll need to wait and see, but what you want to pick here is probably the help for these 2 teams. Again, the main priority should be on the DPS. Second priority should be on the 2 characters in here, so the battlefields characters, and then on the support. So Urahara has the least important stuff that you want to get for him. Even though he's good, he's like one of the best characters in the game. He's a support, again, extra damage bonus also is pretty nice. But again, you get mostly carried by Ichigo, so you don't want to really summon and get these 2 characters even higher unless you're like a pay to win, because then you can get these characters like for free. Basically, you don't really need to spend on them either way. For free to play, it's going to be very scuffed. If you have Ichigo, I would recommend going for one of these 2 or like just one of these 2 attributes rather than going for, again, full on slash in there. Again, we will need to clear a lot of the content, and a lot of different attributes will come in future more and more. So there's going to be a lot of content depending where you will need actually having a lot of different attributes. So because of that, this is my recommendations for you. Hopefully this was useful for people who are looking to see what you want to pick from the standard banner. And hopefully you have a great day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me again, what do you think? What are you going to be picking? And have a nice day. I'll see you on the next one.